I'm Shredmaster Scott, and this video is called Most Demonic Metal Chords. In a moment, we'll dive into chords so heinous sounding they'd scare the devil himself. We use the compositional technique of harmonization to represent a melody in a variety of metal styles, including black metal, power metal, and doom metal. I'll also demonstrate Neapolitan chords, chromatic mediants, and tritone chords with acoustic fingerstyle arrangements. Of course, the full tabs and backing tracks will be below so you can employ these ideas in your own playing. What would Satan do? Now, before we get started, I want to give you the basic concept behind harmonization. So harmonization is pairing a melody note with a chord. And the basic idea is the melody note must be contained within the chord. So here I'm using a C major chord to harmonize this C note. And you can see that the C is within that C major chord. So the melody note can be the root of the chord. It can be the third of the chord, in which case you're going to have A minor as the backing chord. It can also be the fifth of the chord, in which case F major is going to be the backing chord. F-A-C. Now let's get to the music. We'll be using everyone's favorite melody, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, as a test subject. Now how about a little Aeolian doom metal? Now check it out, I've made a piano arrangement of everything so we can see the clear relationship between the melody up top and the harmony down below. What I did was I took the primary chords in A minor, which are A minor, D minor, and E minor, and used that to harmonize the melody. And again, the principle here is the melody note must be contained within the chord. So if this is an E minor chord, which is spelled E, G, and B, this G note is indeed within that chord. It's the third. Here we've got a D minor chord backing the melody, and the melody note is an F. Well, an F note is again the third in a D minor chord, which is spelled D, F, and A. F and A, bro. Next, let's pound that twinkle out of your eye with some power metal. Now here I'm using Neapolitan chords to harmonize the melody, amongst others. Neapolitan chord is typically used in a minor key, and it's built a half step up from the root, usually in first inversion. So in the case of A minor, the Neapolitan chord is going to be a B flat. And I've even got it in first inversion here, although I don't always use it this way. Now when you resolve a Neapolitan chord, it typically goes to either the 5, which I did here, E major, or the 1, which would be A minor. And that's what I do in the next measure. Very cool sound and adapts extremely well to metal. Now check it out. Let's talk about you for a minute. Question is, what do you really want when it comes to guitar playing? Is it just a hobby? Or would you like to maybe make a career out of it and support yourself? If you're interested in having a career in guitar playing, you're up against quite a challenge. The internet has become overly saturated with hopeful guitarists. Now here's the good news. Nearly everyone is hyper-focused on emulating and not innovating. Scroll through your Instagram feed, what are you gonna see? People covering the Tornado of Souls solo, trying to get that John Petrucci lick just right, perfecting Yngwie's arpeggios from hell. But if you really want to stand out from all the noise, you've got to remove yourself from the game everyone else is playing and do your own thing. And one really powerful way to find your own sound is music theory. It makes you aware of sounds you probably wouldn't have found on your own intuition. If you'd like to dive deeper into music theory, I'll leave a link to my Patreon page below, where I upload a new theoretical concept to work on almost every day. From composer compositional devices like tone rows, the Stravinsky chord, and Neapolitans, exotic scales, the most evil chords. Also try my daily theory quizzes on Instagram to keep your knowledge sharp. That hit the spot. Now let's get back to it. This next cue I call flat submediant gallops. So the flat submediant chord in the key of C is built off the minor 6 scale degree, so A flat in the key of C. It has this really nice bite to it. I'm adding some other chords in here as well. End it all on a C Lydian chord. And the way you get that C Lydian sound is 2 major chords stacked on top of each other a whole step apart. So C and D in this case. Now check out this black metal chromatic mediant arrangement. So chromatic mediants are chords typically of the same quality separated by a third. So here I'm using minor chords separated by a third. You got A minor, C minor, minor third difference there, right? You go up a minor third to get to C minor. Later on we're using A minor and F minor chords. And then we get to some majors. We got C sharp, E, and G. Now, chromatic mediants are very popular in film scores, but they also work great in black metal. Strap in and get ready to hit some tritone chords. So the idea with the tritone chords is if we're in the key of C, a tritone away from C is F sharp, right? So I'm building a chord based on that sharp 4th scale degree. Really delicious dissonance there because the C note in the melody is the sharp 4 of the F sharp chord. Now we get into some F minors, which is really a borrowed 4 sound. F minor major 7, super delicious dissonant sound. End it all on the C7 flat 5. You gotta love that. Now let's try out some D pedal tone chords. So in this cue, the idea is to stick with a D minor chord of some sort, but we've got a chromatic bass line happening, and it kind of sounds like it's James Bond theme a little bit. And here again, I'm using that minor major sound. A really cool, almost hypnotic effect occurs when you keep repeating the same tones over and over. Now I saved the most dissonant for last. What would Twinkle Twinkle sound like harmonized in tone rows? Now, composer Arnold Schoenberg came up with serialism and tone rows in the 20th century. The concept is you take all 12 notes in the chromatic scale and write them out in a row without any repeats. So this is what I came up with for the prime. And what I'm doing is I'm taking groups of 3 and turning them into chords. And if you look at the piano score here, you can see how I've done this. What I did was I took groups of 3 notes. So the first 3 notes in the prime are B, F, and E. And you can see all of these notes in the chord. You got a B, you got the F, and you got the E. Now this is just complete and utter chaotic dissonance, which Satan loves. Love you too, beer. So as we get to the inversion, same principle applies. I took groups of 3. Here we have the notes B, F, and F sharp. And you can see here we got the B, the F, and the F sharp. Use this idea sparingly, otherwise no one's going to listen to your music. But it's super cool as a dissonant effect to throw in from time to time. Now, in all honesty, you can pretty much get away with any chord backing any melody note. That's a bold claim, but as long as you resolve it properly, it's all good. Now, harmonization is a very powerful concept, especially for guitar players who don't sing. Now you can hear a more complete picture of the song you're writing. And of course, gaining a command of this concept puts you on a whole nother level musically speaking. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And until next time, shred till you're dead.